Without water, there is no life, there's no biosphere. There are countries where the desert is expanding and creating huge crises, where people either have to run away from it, pay a very high price if they want to survive, or even go into a conflict situation for fighting for the scarce resources. People should really think about the consequences of the interaction of man and nature. Governments should think not about the next election, but about the next century. If you want to manage the water resources or the lack of water resources, you need investments and infrastructure, be it transportation, education. It should not be considered a cost, it should be considered an investment of which the benefit will come only in 1 or 2 generations. The only source of wealth is human creativity. I mean, resources are always as finite as our creativity to use them. So the problem is not the resources, the problem is us, you know. So China, since 1978, 45 years ago, they started a real war on the desert by building this green wall policy, by planting trees. The biggest forest of the world has been planted by China. We know that if you have vegetation and trees, then the water, it cools down the atmosphere, it cools down the land, you have less evaporation, and the water generally system functions better. We're not winning yet, but we're on the good track, because the Gobi Desert keeps expanding, but much slower than it was before. We need visionary leaders capable to think and to act, not for the next election, for the next century. Only the BRICS and the Global South today is thinking about creating financial institutions which are capable to finance this on the long term, these infrastructure programs, such as the Belt and Road initiatives, whose profit is not short term, but long term. China has built thousands of kilometers of high-speed rail and is connecting Eurasia by railroads for container goods. They go faster, they use less carbon dioxide, and they are less polluting. And secondly, they're bringing development inside countries which have no access to the sea. You know, it's because if you transport goods over the sea, you know, you don't develop the sea, right? You're just passing by. If you transport goods over the landmass, you have stops and you have transport hubs, and there will be new cities and activity inside. Water management should not be considered a cost, but an investment. The life cycle of infrastructure is much longer than the life cycle of commercial goods. The whole thinking on water is defined by fear, you know. Yes, if we don't do anything, you know, we're going to lack water, but the solutions can be found.